Now, how you doing?
Yo, what's happening?
All right. You, my friend, are one of, and I can only count on one hand, out of all the people I've met, went to school with and things like that. You're one of the only cats that stuck to what you believed in, and now you are on the fast track to being where you need to be at. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel all right. You know what I mean? It makes me feel all right. You know what I mean? Long time coming. I mean, we go way back. So
yes.
I mean,
yes.
People saw. Well, let's not even talk about people. You've seen the progression from from start to finish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, not even from finish, but just the ongoing drive and grind from being back in goddamn middle school, all the way up.
Because you went to Cario, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I went to...
Lang, I think.
Hell no. I went to...
Moultrie.
Yes.
That's where you went.
I went to Moultrie for my 8th grade year. Mm-hmm. And I went to... Ooh, shit. Right? Alice Burney? Yeah, Alice Burney. It was mixed up. But you lived right by Alice Burney back then.
Did I?
Did you?
I don't remember.
Maybe. Anyway, regardless. So, how has it all been treating you?
It's up and down. You, of course, with COVID, everything is at a very slow and steady pace. But the good thing about it gives you more time to focus. You know what I mean, and actually decide on what you want to do next. Because at this point, it's kind of just like once you get the ball rolling, the ball got to keep rolling.
Right.
It's fast paced, and sometimes artists get caught up in that, in that hustle. Because once they got something going, you got to have a follow-up record. And if you ain't got a follow-up record, then what's the follow-up record from that? What's the next step? You don't want to repeat the same type of drive with the last project. You want to do something different, something refreshing, keep people entertained. And, with COVID striking, things slow down, but it gives you a chance to kind of just like, all right, we get to take a break, but really take a break to actually put things in perspective and come out with more of a 2-year to a 6-month to a 2-year plan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really feel like, especially in the music business industry, however you want to look at it, there's always a certain bar that you got to set for yourself. And then depending on what genre you're in, the peers, the people around you kind of affect that, because you got people like, just throwing up some names, you got people like, J. Cole's of the world, the Kendricks of the world. They put out like a song every 5 months.
Right.
Then they put out an album like once every 2 years.
Right.
But then you got guys like, Pee Wee Longway, put out a song like every single day. Yeah. So just like finding your sweet medium, like what makes you happy, how do you feel you can go about it to get to the next level? Right. And of course, with this whole virus thing, I know a lot of people, have been slowed down. But, a question that I got, where do you say you find the energy to keep going after years and years of the constant ups and downs? Because, like I said in the beginning, you are one of the only people I know that said, you know what? I'm going to do A, and I'm going to not even worry about B, C, and D because that's going to distract from A. Yeah. So I'm going to do everything in my fucking power to get to where I need to be.
Absolutely.
So where do you think you find that energy to just keep going? Because I know there's been some rough times. Yeah. Personally. I mean, we ain't going to get into it, but there's been some real rough times. Yeah.
So. I would say just the fear of if I don't keep at it, then there is no progression. If if you don't keep your head on straight or keep working towards something, you're never perfecting it. You're never getting one step ahead from the person that's behind you that comes up, that just starts rapping or singing tomorrow, and then they have the right formula and they get put on. Right. You sell yourself short every day of just not being where you want to be if you stop.
Right.
So, you know, that would be the first thing that gives me my first energy to keep going and keep progressing and pushing. It's just the fear of, if I stop, then there is nothing else.
Right.
You pick something else up and you're back at square one. So if you don't just stop at something you're good at, or start with something that you're good at and continue to keep pushing that, then eventually everybody gets their one shot.
Right.
Eventually. You know what I'm saying? And if, you know, if God has it planned out for you to be in that that space at that time, you will be in that space. It's just you never know. You ain't supposed to know.
Yeah, you're right. You know, because a lot of guys, like I said, a lot of guys and girls, you know, you start something because you're really passionate about it. Like, you even helped me back when I was like, I'm gonna be the greatest rapper alive.
Right.
You even helped me. Like, a few of the songs that I recorded, you know, was at your personal studio. I still got those songs on my phone.
And they was fucking hard.
Them
songs.
just was hot, but you know,
they been hard.
I don't own the beats, so there won't be too much money being made off that. But you know, people are, you know, like I said, they start things because they're passionate about it. Then they don't really know how to keep going because they don't understand what it literally takes to keep pushing forward.
Right.
Like in your position, you know, because we follow each other on social media. We don't conversate every day, but we watch each other on social media. I've seen you, you know, do club shows, school shows, travel to places like have you ever been to Cali?
Yeah.
Okay, travel to places like Cali, because, man, coming from a person that's never been there, all that shit looked the same to me. It's not here, so it looked different. You feel me? So, you know, New York.
It's totally different, though. Once you go. Trust me.
Like, I just started traveling, like, breaking out of my shell, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit about?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, you know, I see you go all these places, man, and, you know, I've never once heard you complain. I'm pretty sure you've probably had your moments where you're like, oh, fuck, man, like, another bullshit thing I got to deal with. But I've never openly heard you complain about any of it.
Because I don't allow nobody to get into that space. And I don't allow nobody to, you know, kind of dictate what's going to happen next in my career, just knowing my downfalls. Like, when I have my downfalls, I sit with my manager and we discuss them, and then we discuss what the next step is.
Right.
You know, but if I take it to social media and I allow too many people, I don't like to pull the sympathy card, or, you know, I've seen artists do that before where they're posting, they'd be like, man, being from Charleston, nobody support him, blah, blah, blah. Man, create your own lane, man.
Right.
That's why you just don't stay stagnant in one place. You get up and you go, because the only person holding you back is you.
Right.
It is you.
Right.
You want me to tell you the one thing that I did? Because I know that those statements are usually true. There's a very small market in Charleston to where it's kind of hard for us to move because we're not a big music marketing state, right?
Right.
So it's not like New York or Atlanta or Charlotte or LA, you know what I'm saying? Right. Where music is vibrant and, you know, it's a business out there. You can get put on just based off of who you know. In Charleston, it's not that. So my drive is if Charleston is going to hold me back, then I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to do my own research, and I'm going to go and put my foot in those same places and move and, you know, and mingle with the tastemakers of the cities, create contacts and network and see, you know, get a mentor that's going to school you on what you need to be doing. Because once you're exposed and you get the resource on what you need to do, I tell you, man.
The sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit. All you need is the one person to tell you the formula to one thing. You'd be like, damn, that's how they do it?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, all right, well. And you can't be afraid, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people, trust me, I know financially, a lot of people can't do a lot of things because they be like, man, I got to pay this and I got to do this or whatever. But if you don't sometimes take a step out on faith first and realize that your dreams is just as big. Actually, your dreams are bigger than the bills that you pay. Right. Because we're paying somebody such as being in an apartment. You don't own it, but you're paying this money out every day because you need shelter.
Right.
But if you go and you get the resource that you need and you got to struggle maybe for a month, that 1 month might turn into a lifetime of you making 6 figures a year.
And it's just something that you
know what I mean?
just got to do. And I want to touch on that because, you know, we all go through things growing up and they kind of stifle our progression in life. You know, like a lot of people grow up not knowing how to truly love somebody.
Right.
They grow up not knowing how to be loved themselves.
Absolutely.
And one of my main problems was I was very frugal with my money. You know, I was just like, oh, man, I kind of want this, but, you know, I don't, you know, because I didn't grow up with, you know, I don't want to say a lot because, you know, my parents did what they could, especially my dad. But one of my problems was I just felt as though I needed to have the money, regardless of if I want this or not, regardless if I feel like I need it or not, having the money next week would feel better than having this thing next week.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was just something that I had to break out of because that's not really a great way to go about life. You know, like when we were talking about like the software that I use, like that computer I got, like $600. 5 years ago, I'd have never did that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This laptop, $700.
Right.
5 years ago, I'd have never did that shit.
Right.
But it's just that mindset of, you know what? And I'm not gonna lie, it was not overnight.
Right.
I convinced myself to believe money is all, as long as I'm alive, I'm not lazy. I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing.
Right.
Money is always gonna come in.
'Cause you work.
It's always gonna come in. I'm gonna work, even though I may not like where I'm working, but the money is always gonna come in.
Right.
So that mindset alone has put me far, like I'm talking about, it's probably compensated for years of thinking, let me pinch my pennies. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a fear-based mentality.
Right.
You know? So that's definitely a great way to go about it. And, you know, with you, my friend, and this is honest opinion, you, if people were to look back from beginning to end, because Brandon went to middle school together, and he was the first person to tell me, he was like, you know what? I remember the day we was in class and Lorenzo was like, I want to be a rapper.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it.
That was it.
That was it, right?
Yeah.
You getting to that level, or you staying on this course, or, you know, I don't want to put a label on what you're doing, but whatever level you are working to get to, and once you get there, and even before you get there, the entire journey is something that needs to be discussed, especially in our community.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be discussed. It's something that needs to be talked about. Something that needs to be viewed by people who want to, by younger people who want to do something other than just work at McDonald's, be car salesman, you know, work at Boeing and Bosch, you know, these jobs that they swear are the best things in sliced bread when it's really not.
Right.
You know, because at the end of the day, you're still working for somebody. You're still doing something you don't want to do. You're still waking up. You're still punching the clock. And if you want to do that, then be down.
Right.
But the majority of us don't want to do that shit. You know? So this, I don't want to say fairy tale story because ain't shit sweet about what you're doing because it's a grind every single day.
Yep.
You know? And, I just want to say I'm proud of you, man.
No, come on, don't do it. Oh, shit. I was going to cry out here in these streets. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So.
I'll say for, you know, for the youth though, like if I could ever give my greatest and strongest advice to anybody in any journey, even if it's music or not music, get a mentor. And a mentor doesn't always have to particularly be in the space of where, you know, where you're trying to be as far as like your creativeness. Like if you're for example, let's say if you're a film director, right, and you want to get in film, but your mentor is, you know, a banker, or a broker, but he's doing very successful for himself. You still take him as your mentor because you want the level of success and you want more avenues to open up. And when you know what you need to do with your money, then a lot of times they be like, you know, I don't know too much about this, but they're life coaching you through the things that you need to be, you know, where you need to be. So you want to get a mentor. Now, my particular mentor that I have two. The two mentors that I do have, one is Ron Stewart, and he's the VP at Warner Music now. And he just became the VP. But I've literally watched this dude from the time I met him. He was an executive over marketing and advertising for Atlantic Records. And then I watched him go from that and move up and get his own office and become executive and this and that. And now he's a vice president, you know, over the whole entire urban department. Right. And through watching his progression, you know, I learned from him. And I don't try to ask him for favors. The favor that I need is teach me how to fish. You know what I'm saying? Teach me exactly what to do so I can be able to do it for a lifetime and be able to take it to the next level. So it would be little things. I'd be like, you know what would you recommend? What would you say to do with this? If I had $10,000, what would be the best way to invest that $10,000? Because I got this going on, I got this going on, and I got this going on, and I feel like I should take care of this, that, and the third. And then I need that real nigga moment to look me in the face and be like, this is what you need to do. Right. Because this will work. You know what I'm saying? So I always tell people, get a mentor, you know. And second of all, your group of friends, if they you know don't if they don't partake to your growth and what you got going on or whatever, then you need to change your company.
You got to get rid of them.
You got to change your company, man.
And it's really that black and white.
It's that black and white because if they don't create a healthy environment for you solely, because I mean you can have a couple hot heads here and there and stuff like that, but you got to know how to not feed into the peer pressure of being something that you're not. You got to be yourself, and if yourself wants to be greater and better, then focus on being greater and greater. And if they are your friends, they will support it. And if they support it, then you build that team with those group of supporters to help get to the next level. Like me and my friend, we was just talking about earlier about, you know, producers, you know, locally that haven't been nowhere or been producing for a long time. You know, they charge for every other track or whatever, but they want to be on a Timberland, you know, type of status, or they want to, you know, be up there and mingling in the industry, doing this, that, and the third. But just find one artist that you believe in, produce for that artist, and do the whole Drake and 40 blow up together. You know what I'm saying? Because the longevity of where you're going to end up at is greater than the little nickel and dimes that you're making off of every little track here and there when they ain't going to do nothing for you anyways. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, you're just asking your question where you want to be. It's really being specific of where you want to be in a specific time in space. You need an exact number. So if right now I'm sitting here and I say, you know, I want to drop an album. I don't just say I want to drop an album and I'm probably drop it around October. No, I'll say I want to drop an album October the 5th, and out of that, what do I want to come out of that album? I want to grow my fan base at least by 1,000 or 15,000 on social media. You know what I'm saying? So every day I'm working on trying to get 15,000. That's the whole sole purpose of why I'm dropping this album. I want new listeners and I want this much, and I'm specific. So when you're working towards that specific goal, if you only got 800 fans, you'd be like, all right, what did I do wrong? What could I have done more? So then when I do it again, not settling. And then if you do get 15,000, let's say you over exceed it, then you already know, all right, I just created a formula. And I can have data to support the growth. If I said I wanted 15,000 followers by October the 5th and I got 20,000, then on a sheet, I can tell somebody, dog, I over exceeded my goal in this time span, or when I started to plan the album to the time I dropped the album, this was the results. Then you turn around, you do it all over again.
Right.
You keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And next thing you know, you're not knocking at anybody else's door. They're knocking at yours.
They're not gonna, because they want you to be a part of what they got going on.
Right.
You know, I wanna go back to what you were talking about with the whole friend situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I personally, me personally, and we've all, I'm pretty sure we've all had people that we've had falling outs with.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily fuck with them anymore and stuff like that. But I don't really think a lot of people who truly want to be successful understand that concept.
Right.
Because, perfect example is people get the terms, the day one friend and the friend who's been around since you started. They get those two terms mixed up, right? You got a guy you grew up with. Y'all were cool. You may have had a falling out, got back together. You may have had a few falling outs, and you got back. You cool. And then you've had this guy who came along later on in the course of the process. Never had a falling out. It's been genuine since day one. Just because you've known the other guy a lot longer doesn't mean you can't trust the other guy a little bit more.
Right.
Because you got to look at, I am a strong believer in, you got to look at what people do versus what they say.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Somebody, or put it like, a bum will tell you anything to get $1 out of you. Right? I had this guy, he was homeless. I had this guy, clearly, he asked me for like $5 or some shit to get some water. And I'm like, bruh. Bruh, come on. I'm like, bro, we right outside stop. This is before COVID, before the mask, before, you got to have this on before you walk. I'm like, bro, if you really want water, there's a Starbucks right here.
Right.
Go in there and get some water.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, that's not what I wanted for. And I was like, well, why'd you ask me for $5 for water?
Right.
And he walked off. Then he came back and was like, oh, well, you don't have to be honest all the time. And I'm like, nigga, what?
No.
Because if I gave you this money, you were just going to go down the street, buy some crack, smack, weed, whatever the fuck you could get for $5. And so I say that to say this, man. A lot of people are naive, they're gullible. It's probably because of their upbringing, or it's probably because they just like being around people. I used to be one of those people. And there's a term that I heard. Actually, it was 2 days ago I heard this term. It was, you got to be careful of the people you let on your boat. Because some people will sink the boat just because they can't be the captain.
Right.
But this is my boat, though. Right. You have your own boat. Go get your boat, and we can both be captains in our own lane. And I really think that is a topic that needs to be discussed a lot more. Because when you interact with people, I have this thing that I live by. People don't change, especially when you get to your adult age. My old man told me something when I was a kid, and it stuck out to me forever. He told me the person you are at 10, the person you are at 20, and the person you are at 30.
I say this all the time.
3 different people. 3 different people. But the person you are at 40, 50, 60, and 70...
It's a different person.
They're different people.
Yes.
But they are more akin to being the person you were at 30 than the person you were at 20 or 10. Because the majority of the majority of the things that you're going to experience that is going to shape who you are, you're going to see it before you turn 30.
Right.
Right? And so with that mindset, regardless of how old you get, you're still going to be tapping into, obviously you're going to learn as you get older, but you're still going to be tapping into that 30-year-old mindset.
Yeah.
Because that, from 0 to 30, you've been through whatever, you've experienced whatever, you've come into contact with whoever and fallen out with whoever, fought, got together with. That mindset is basically going to shape you into who you're going to be until the day you die.
Right.
And when you come into contact with people who are habitual liars, habitual, like Charlie Murphy said, habitual line steppers, they abuse you. They just look at you, especially in your position as a meal ticket. You got motherfuckers like, oh man, yeah, when we get on, we're going to do this, but you ain't did shit to help the process, motherfucker. So what are you talking about?
People.
Like, get the fuck out of here, And so, you definitely have to be cognizant of the people you allow to come into your arena, whether they come with flowers or knives. You gotta be very cautious of people. You know, I know I'm throwing out these terms like crazy, but they're so relative.
But see, the thing is what you're saying is so true, because the way that I step through this life of mine, through this journey, is I humble myself for everybody. Anybody and everybody can approach me, regardless if I had a falling out of you or if really per se I don't believe what you got going on, or I don't really rock with you like that. At the same time, yeah.
You a Gemini. I don't believe that shit.
You have to.
I'm just fucking with you.
Dead ass though.
Right.
I'm the type of person to where I humble myself and I allow people to be able to feel comfortable to approach me and communicate with me. That doesn't mean I allow you in my space and in my own circle of growth. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want people to know that, if it's not genuine, it won't prosper anyways.
Right.
So a lot of times, instead of me kind of looking for who's after me, I already just shut it out. And then the people that do come in, because even the ones that do get in your circle, or the ones that you do start to trust, eventually, sometimes through time, they can show you a different side of them.
Right.
And, sometimes you could be blind to that. So, sometimes with life, that's how you gotta go with life. Like, you're gonna go through situations like that. It's gonna be situations where it's a live and learn situation or whatever, but it's still just structuring you to be the person that you are. But you create this mindset and you be like, you know what? I'm gonna just humble myself, and I'm only gonna invite people into my circle that can help me grow into a better person. If that person steps out of line, doesn't mean you gotta regret it.
Right.
You still learned something through the time that they were there. So if they did something that was out of character, if it was out of character and it was really messed up, in the end, it won't prosper. You will still get your blessings in the end, and end up where you need to be, and they will get their karma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right about that.
So you just got to humble yourselves and stuff like that. Because I kind of thought about, like you said, you gave the $5 to the
homeless guy.
The homeless guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he had a different intention for it. See, if he was to come up to me, he would have been like, hey, if I have, can I have $5 to get some water? I'd be like, all right, how about this? Take the $5, but instead of you buying the water, you can get free water right there. Here, take the $5. Right? I don't need to know what you're going to do with it. Because at the end of the day, if it's not genuine, it's not going to prosper for you.
Right.
But my blessings is going to come back 10 times full. Regardless.
Right.
Because I gave you something that I didn't mind giving you, but I gave you more in that same thing. And I put you onto some game. So you can live with that $5, you know what I'm saying? That ain't going to do nothing for you.
Right.
But at the same time, you have somebody that's in front of your face that don't mind doing something for you, but helping you grow. So if you recognize that, instead of you coming asking me for $5, ask me for knowledge. Be like, you know what? I need some water. You help me or whatever. How can I get a job? How can I get a house? How can I get a car? How can I do this? It's just little things that you can ask, because see, the thing is, being homeless is a choice.
Right.
I don't give a damn. People be like, yo,
hey, you're right.
Being homeless is a choice.
I'm going to stop you right there, because whenever I see, regardless of the situation, regardless of what may lead to, what may have led to your current situation, barring a few mental problems, I'll give you an exception there. But it's like, I just have this thing where I'm like, man, you literally asking me for money outside of Walmart, who has a help wanted sign on the fucking front door. So instead of getting rejected by all these people asking for money, why don't you just go in there and see, like, hey, how do I start working here?
Yeah.
Like, where do y'all need help at? I'm down on my ass. I'm down on my luck. I need this. Y'all need help. I'm willing to give you help. How can we work this out?
Right.
And that's just something I can't get behind. You know what I mean? I can't get behind that. So, yeah, fuck all that shit. I can't get that.
That's why I always tell people, man, I don't mind giving out game. You know what I'm saying? somebody always has. See, the thing is with us as Black people, we grow up with our parents and grandparents sometimes not having the resources back then to be able to grow or be out the hood. Because I always used to use this this term, or I give this scenario. There was this guy that came to me one time, and he was just like, man, I got a Jetta, right? At the same time, I was driving a Jetta. And he just like, man, I'm paying, it's a brand new Jetta or whatever, right off the lot and stuff like that. But I'm paying, you know, damn near $600-something a month in my car payment and stuff like that. You got the same exact car, and you know, and you paying less. Or better yet, me and you live in the same, you know, I live in the hood, you know what I'm saying? And this dude over here living in the suburbs and stuff like that. But we worked the same job and got the same pay. If minimum wage was $7.25 back then, he was working $7.25, but he still was in the suburbs.
Right.
He'd be like, what's the difference? And I looked at him and I said, credit. I said, there's your difference. I just like, your difference is your credit, man. I just like, do you take your credit serious? Nah. I just like, all right, I bet you he did. I just like, out of $7.25, y'all making the same pay, but he has a different resource. Right. I just like to be where he is and live comfortably. I just like, the thing is when you lack resource, you can never really grow. So you have to go out and look for resources to know. If I say right now I want to go and buy my second house, right, before me just jumping right into it, I'm going to research it. Or I'm going to go and sit down with somebody that has a whole ton of knowledge with it, and I'm going to understand it instead of just trusting them to do the work for me. No, I want to understand this process on what I have to do to be able to take it to level 3. You know what I'm saying? And once you understand it, you pass that down to your kids.
Exactly.
You pass that to your siblings.
You breaking certain cycles.
You see what I'm saying? It's the cycles of everything. And people don't want that. They want the right now. If they see a Corvette outside and they be like, damn, that car look nice, I'm going to just go and get it. But you going to get that Corvette knowing you guys got a fucking 500 credit score. So I feel like, all right, you will be paying Corvette price.
You know, there will be none of that shit. Fuck
you don't have
that.
to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, get your resource and know what you need to do, but really, really study your craft or study what you want to do and study where you want to be. That's all it is. If I don't know, put it like this, you work out. Right?
I do.
All the fucking time. All the time. Like, nigga, if I go to your page, I'd be like, damn, this man is getting it. I'd be like, goddamn. Yeah. I don't go to the gym as much. Right? So instead of me, if I say I want to go to the gym right now, I'd be like, I'm going to get my membership and I'm just going to go in there and just jump on a machine. But then I jump on, I start doing cardio, then I jump and I start working on my arms, and I work on my legs, and then I do all over the fucking place. When I'll have somebody like you approach me and they'd be like, well, what are you working on today? Well, you should only focus on your arms today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you get the most out of it that way.
Get the most out of it. And then maybe tomorrow, focus on your legs. Or better yet, maybe make it a week plan. Maybe for a week, we're going to work on our arms. The next following week, you're going to focus just on your legs. But see, the thing is a person jumping in with no knowledge, just be like, oh, I want to go to the gym. I'm going to jump in there, come out sore, and start seeing no results. Because they be like, man, fuck. I've been all over the place, and I can't get one thing done. I've been working in this shit all week, and I ain't seen no results or whatever.
No gauge. Right.
But the thing is I could come to you knowing that I see you every day doing this, knowing that if I want to jump into the gym, I'm going to jump into a gym with somebody that does this on a daily basis. His lifestyle is centered and focused around this. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a testimony, man. You can't tell somebody how to come out of a situation until you go through a situation.
Go through it.
You know what I'm saying?
People call me a dickhead for saying shit like that.
It's the truth.
I have this mindset, bro. I'm like, I can't really get anything out of you if you've never done anything, right? See, people have this weird misconception, and I know it's going to be a little controversial, when people hear it, they think just because somebody's older than you, they automatically know more than you.
Nope.
One of the greatest quotes I've ever heard, and a lot of people need to stick by this. One of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. You're never too young to teach, and you are never too old to learn. Right. That's why you got people who are in their 60s, 70s with college degrees today. They just got them.
Yep.
They had to kill that ego of, and I'm old, man, I know what the fuck going on, dog. You can't tell me nothing. You had to kill that ego because when you go through something like, let's just use that as an example. When you go through something like that, the majority of the people around you were you were 40 when they were born.
Right.
So just think of what that does to you.
Right.
You have to constantly, if you're that type of person, you have to constantly kill the ego voice in your head saying, these young people, man, they can't tell me nothing. I should already know this. That's stupid. Yep. That's stupid. Because that young person may have gone through so much time, or not so much time, may have gone through so much in such little time to where a lot of knowledge is condensed. It can be a situation where your 70 years of information is equal to their 25, 30 years of information, but it's just heavily condensed in a shorter time frame.
Yep.
Right? A lot of people don't think like that. You know, I say all the time, I'm not just this guy that goes out and disrespects people. I don't. I respect everybody. But I also respect who respects me.
Absolutely.
And I've actually got into, not arguments, but back and forth with older people because they just assume just because they were born in 65, like 55, sometimes 45, that I automatically need to just like, yes, sir. What do you want, sir? What can I do for you? So like, hey, buddy, I'm a grown man too, dog. If you need something, I can help you with that. But don't come at me with that left field energy. Because I'll bust shit now. You know what I'm saying?
I'll bust your old ass.
Your ass. Nah, I'm not like that, man. But that is definitely something that definitely needs to be understood.